It is an exciting day here at Agents in the Trenches. Welcome to another episode of the real, raw realities of what goes on in the life of an agent, of a team leader, of a broker. And as usual, we love to, just bring the stories that have changed people's lives. Talk about how people got to where they are, talk about the real struggles. And today I have a super, super guest that's going to be joining me. And it's funny because when we talk about the power of proximity, the power of association, many of you have heard that I went to Dallas, Texas back in February because I wanted to be, let's just say, the novice in the room filled with experts, the novice in the room filled with people that were playing at a much higher level, people that were doing incredible things. And it happens that, my paths crossed with someone that was there. But then again, we got an opportunity to meet a little bit more up close and personal. He was there with his mentor. So I want to jump right into this conversation because I think that we are in the perfect place in the market where we need to open our minds to the power of proximity. We need to open our minds to saying, hey, you know what? I need to hang around people that are playing at a higher level because I am not satisfied with my results, or I want more results. Or you know what? I am knocking it out of the ballpark, but I think there's another level for me that I want to explore. And the only way we're going to grow is by surrounding ourselves with those people that are doing what we want to do. So help me welcome my guest today, Daniel. How are you? It's so good to see you.
Pleasure. Absolutely. Good to see you again.
Well, I love your setup. And I
Thank
always
you.
say no one knows our guests better than my guests. So today, here you are. Thank you for accepting this invitation. Let's
You're
start
welcome.
off by telling everyone a little bit about you. Who are you? Where do you come from? Where have you been? Where are you going?
Wow, that's a all right. Let me think. How would I unpack that? Who am I? I'm a broker and an agent currently. I'll give you who I am currently. Broker and an agent in New Jersey. I service pretty much most of the New Jersey area, northern New Jersey, and I actually am able to serve clients on the southern part as well. As far as my career, I started in this industry right out of college in 1999. I was in the mortgage industry, and then I jumped over to the real estate side after a stint with some acting and print work and things of that nature. And around 2009, I think that's when I got my license. So I was double dipping a little bit, doing consulting on the mortgage side, and also what I thought was being a successful agent early on. But it was shown to me very early and very quickly that there's a lot more to being a real estate agent than just passing a test in 2 weeks and getting your license. So
I love that.
yeah,
And so let's start there. What inspired you to get into real estate? Because, in my experience, I am the founder, I am the first Latina to have founded a real estate academy in my area, right?
awesome.
And it seems like when the going gets tough in the employment world, everybody wants to get going into real estate, right? And they
Mm,
come in with all these illusions, they come in with all these, expectations that are not the real world of real estate. So what inspired
yes.
you to get into real estate?
Excuse me. So I was in the mortgage side for again about 8 or 9 years, laid off 4 times in that span, 3 or 4 times, just with the industry being very cyclical, especially the mortgage industry. And I didn't know what it takes to be a successful uh, loan officer and to really just keep that going. And I don't think I really wanted to be honest. At that time, I was also double dipping. I was doing, I live right outside Manhattan, so I was acting, doing some print work, and I was bartending in the city. And that all came to a screeching halt in 2009 in that area with the mortgage
Oh,
crisis. So a lot of independent money dried up. I was on set doing an overnight shoot in Queens, and I ran into a guy who I would call a good friend now. and said, "You should get your real estate license. Every actor that's out there has one." And I just was like, okay, like, it made sense, and I went and took the test and got it, and so I was doing both. But you kind of draw a line in the sand to which you're going to devote all of your time to. And I saw that I was successful at real estate in the terms of connecting with people. I had a skill for that. And again, so I dabbled a little bit with that still, but I really just kind of went full force with real estate after that time, which was about 2009.
Wow. So you got into the market right when, I mean, it had bottomed out. I don't know. I'm sure, I mean, it affected the nation,
Sure.
as a whole. But I know here where I'm located, we were literally ground zero. I mean, it's been the only time that the president of the United States at that time, and in history, came to visit us because we were
Mhm.
literally ground zero. So tell us a little bit about your first year. How did that work out for you? Because I mean, obviously you're good with people because you're an actor. You could play the part. You know how to put yourself into character. You're probably
Mm.
very charismatic. But what was the real struggles, or what did you find out that you didn't know before getting into real estate?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, what I noticed very early was being friendly and getting, building rapport with people is good, but it's not going to make you a success. I noticed that a lot of the agents that when I would go into the office, they were very, very solid and confident on the phone. And I just said to myself, like, how did they get that way? I'm just making calls, like not knowing what to say, not knowing anything. And I'm just listening to them, and they're booking I'm listening to them. They're booking appointments. They're listing property. And I just asked them the next day, how did you sound the way you do? This was very early. This was probably 2010, 2011. I was like,
Hmm.
how did you sound the way you do? You sound very solid and very confident. And they said, oh, well, I'm coached. They said, I'm coached. I have a mentor, and I have scripts. Those were the three things. And I said, what do you mean scripts? And they said, I have scripts. We memorize scripts on what to say. And the next day they brought them in. They didn't have them with them because they already had it in their brain.
Right.
They bring them with me. This is foreign to me. And I'm like, perfect. I'll just memorize these and go. So I started to do that. Then I got into a coaching program with, coaching, one of the most prominent coaching platforms in the United States, where I was with them for a good 4 or 5 years. And then it just kind of, I needed something different. I felt like my goals and their goals were not in alignment with each other. And
Hmm.
then it's funny how life kind of puts people in front of you that you need. I call that so a miracle to me is getting exactly what you need at exactly the right time. And I had that with my coach and mentor now that I've been with for almost 10 years, who you met.
Oh, wow. I want to break that down a little bit because, as a matter of fact, yesterday I started a productivity boot camp every
Hmm.
single Wednesday. I said, you know what? If I'm going to get where I want to go, I might as well start just, ripping off and implementing or doing exactly what I see other people doing that
Sure.
are where I want to go. So I started a productivity boot camp. Obviously, I've been in real estate since the year 2000. I've also had coaches and mentors and teachers and, all this agent development that I had to go through. And so I said, what's the number one thing right now that everybody needs? It's productivity. So we put together a productivity boot camp. And I want you to break this down because I was having a conversation with someone yesterday and I said, you have to invest in yourself. You have to learn how to invest in yourself and hire a mentor, someone that has been where you want to go,
Hmm.
that can show you the way. But most people don't want to invest in themselves. They want to wing it, right? They want to
Hmm.
just, no, I'll figure it out myself, or I can do this myself, or obviously the number one, I don't have the money.
Hmm.
Can you speak a little bit to that? Because it's not only the prominent agents that are going to be watching this; it's people getting into the industry. We
Hmm.
were watched nationally and internationally. Talk to us about if you had not, right, hired that mentor, hired that coach. what do you already know would have been the outcome because of the impact that it did make in your business and career?
Yeah. So powerful questions. I'm going to try and unpack them one at a time. So where I would be if I didn't run into who I did would be out of the business. I think I did $3,500 my first year. It was 3 rentals in where I'm at now. I think that's what I did my first 2009. I think I did 3 rentals. So I noticed very quickly that the competition with other agents is to the max. They are super skilled. They're killers in where I'm at. These guys and these women and these men are super skilled. So if I noticed early, if I'm not skilled, I'm gonna lose listings to them. So that's the first thing. And then to go on and piggyback on that, I understand that the money is an issue, but look, guys, what do agents need to do now? Everybody needs to do more deals.
Mm-hmm.
That's the number one thing an agent wants right now. How can I do more deals? Because let's look at the market. In 2020, 2021, we had 6.5 million transactions nationwide. Last year, 3.9. So that's like a 40% drop in transactions. Mm-hmm. So we know that the market we're in is probably as bad or tough or worse than 2008, 2009.
I think it's probably even worse.
I would agree with you.
And let me tell you why I believe it's even worse. When I got into real estate in the year 2000, it was a real estate market. It was a market where you had to go to work every single day, where you had to, pull up your sleeves and literally, dial for sale by owners, you had to work it. Mm-hmm. Here's what I notice now. For the last 10 to 15 years, we've had a very easy real estate market because the conditions were pro sales, right? So interest rates really low, people sitting on a ton of equity in their homes, being able to cash out and buy a bigger, better home, right? Or then even the pandemic brought you're in New Jersey. So let me ask you real quick. Do you get to see Manhattan from where you are?
I can turn my head and see so I'm looking at the Freedom Tower when I turn my head.
So you're right across the Hudson River?
Literally right across.
I love it. I grew up in Williamsburg.
Okay. Yeah. We get a lot of people from Brooklyn that come over to New Jersey because the prices here are 30 to 40% less than there.
I get goosebumps hearing you say that because I go, that nice area you can walk on the Manhattan side of the Hudson River, and it's beautiful, right? So here's what I wanted to say before I diverted to asking you about your view. Now we have people that don't know how to work a real estate market because, like I was saying, the interest rates were really low. A lot of people during the pandemic from New York, New Jersey, and many northern states decided to come to Florida. Mm-hmm. So there were people literally selling their homes in New Jersey, in New York for a ton of money and coming here and buying mansions, right? Mm-hmm. But that was in reality. Now reality has hit. What do you see happening in your side of the world? What's making it the struggle there?
So let's talk about why so we know that the market is what it is right now. So we know that it has shrunk with regards to transactions. So agents are seeing that and they're noticing that. So what does that tell us? It tells us a few things. Number one is when an agent gets someone who's actually interested in selling, and let's say they cold call them, your conversion rate has to be top notch because the leads that you're getting now are eminently less than they were 3-4 years ago. So the ones that you get, you have to know how to convert. So how do you know how to convert them? That's where someone like me comes in because I do workshops and seminars on the 2 most important factors that I feel in conversion in real estate, which is pre-qualifying a seller And then when you sit across from them at their home, having your own canned listing presentation, knowing what to say, how to say it, and how to say it with confidence. So the seller that's across from you says to themselves, this person knows exactly what to do to get me the absolute most we can for this property and in the shortest amount of time possible. So you have to have those two skills. Now, I train agents and help them get those tactics, those skills. This isn't like discipline and motivation. All that's well and good. But if you don't have the actual skill of asking pointed questions to a seller to figure out, are they motivated? Do they have the need and want to sell? Are they ready, willing, and able to sign a listing agreement? And is it an option for them not to sell the property, but still make the move to wherever they're going? You have an accurate assessment of the price of the property that they want, because sometimes sellers will ask a really high number. And if you know that off the top of your head, like the average sale price, let's say, is 500, and they're saying to you, well, I'm going to be listing it at 650. That's a conversation you have to have with them to politely confront them about what they're asking. And once you get all those things, there, then the next step is, do you know what to say when you walk into their home? Because it's insulting to a seller for you to think as an agent you can go in there and wing it and think you're going to get a listing that way. Because in my market, the average market price is about 700,000, 720,000. So at a 3%, that's $20,000, $21,000. For me to walk into a seller's home and ask that and not know what to say, that is insulting to them. And I pray that as an agent, you do that and you're going up against me. I pray that's what happens.
I love it. I love it. Yesterday, I was talking at Productivity Bootcamp. Listen, it's hunting season. Like, you need to wake up in the morning and turn on that prey drive. Like, you need to wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to go hunt, not tippy-toe like a little pussycat, right? Walking down the street. And what you're saying is right on point with that. Like, I know there's people here watching that were with me yesterday, and now they're hearing you say that. So why, or what, better yet, what is the reason that real estate agents struggle with being trainable and doing exactly what you did, learning your scripts, role playing, preparing before you go use your clients as a guinea pig? What do you feel is their hang up? Because they don't want to do it. The majority doesn't want to do it.
I could share what's true for me. And for me, it was my ego.
Oh, tell us about that.
Well, I didn't. Look, I don't know about everybody else, but for me to admit that I don't know something, this is now, remember, this is almost 20 years ago. That was a hard thing for me. But again, this is where proximity comes into play. I got in proximity to people that were credible and believable and producing outcomes way above what I was. And I just said to myself, I want that. So then when I found my coach, I don't ever ask him like why he's telling me to do something. I just do it.
Come on now.
Then when we talk again, I'll give him the result of what happened. And usually it's a favorable one.
Say that louder. Say that louder for the people in the back. You don't question your coach. You just follow directions. Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit, right? Because I've trained over 4,500 agents since I started training agents and then mentoring and then coaching, right? And I really did it more out of desperation because I was coming out of the market crash 2008 with 125 agents. And by the time 2012 came around, I was down to 19 agents and 18 of them had a job or were not producing, right? So I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
I didn't get into this to fail. So I started training my agents. I started teaching them what I was taught. Because let me tell you, I'm a Ferryite. Do you know what that means, a Ferryite?
No.
So Mike Ferry, right? Everybody knows Mike Ferry.
Okay. Well, that was the coaching org I was with. So yeah.
Hello. I had to borrow my $234 to go to productivity school, which back then was a 3-day. All you did was role play and scripts and role play and scripts and role play and scripts and scream like a lunatic and act like you were crazy. So I was like, well, if that's what I have to do, that's what I'm going to do. Fast forward, you tell people you got to prepare. You have
Mhm.
to know your scripts. Come in, let's role play. And they resisted. So for you, it
Mhm.
was ego. How did you
Yeah.
overcome that? How did you overcome it? People need to
Well,
hear
well, that's okay. Well, I'll say that. I'll say this. I'll preface this with my my mentor now met me at one of the worst times and periods of my life where I didn't have any money. Um, I was living on my parents' sofa in their
this.
basement because I had to move back home, and I was 36, 35 at the time. So I was in a severe depression. So if you're gonna, he got me at my literal worst. So, but again, I saw where he was, what he knew, how he spoke,
Mm,
and said, "I want that." That's going to produce favorable outcomes for me. So I just listened to what he said, and then next thing I know, it takes time, it takes years to, and I have not mastered anything, believe me, but to be able to speak confidently and understand and know my market, homes, how what to do as far as marketing, but really more importantly, how to ask pointed questions to a seller to figure out why they're doing what they're doing, what their goals and objectives are, and why those are those goals and objectives. And then once I find out their true motivation, which takes digging to do. It's not just
mhm.
I'm moving to Florida. That's not
Right.
their motivation. There is levels to why they're doing it, and that's
Mhm.
my job to find out why. And I help agents pull those questions out so the sellers can explain to them that, so then they have it. And then once they have all that information, it's okay, now are your goals and objectives in alignment with what I can deliver for you? And
Right.
9 times out of 10 they are, but there are sometimes sellers that are asking certain things and wanting certain things that I can't deliver for them, and I humbly decline the opportunity to list them.
I love that. I call it dig deep techniques, right?
Hmm.
Asking those questions that are like, obviously you and I were trained by the same mastermind, right? So asking the question that's not going to lead to a no. But let's talk about the power of proximity. Let's break
Hmm.
that down a little bit. What do you tell people now about that power and that it does exist? How do you explain that to people that are either novice or unbelievers, or they're like, oh no, I don't need to do that?
Yeah. So it's a good question. So what I've noticed with agents is when I'm asked, I'll share with what I know. But because of what I do and how I do it, the workshops that I host, and when I prospect every morning, I do it live so agents can see me calling sellers on the phone that either were expired
I love
or probates, or I do commercial as well. So those. So when I'm actually calling, it's helping them. When I do workshops, it's about how to convert expireds, how to convert a probate, how to convert for sale by owner, how to convert a commercial, like whatever it is, how to
Mhm.
pre-qualify, how to do the listing presentation, which I'm going to do in about 3 weeks. This is all
Okay.
to help them. So what happens is they'll start to ask questions to me. I'm not, I won't tell them anything. You ask me, I'm going to give you a solid and answer that was true for me. So if an agent is reluctant to, let's say they're reluctant to get on the phone and call, immediately I
Hmm.
know they probably aren't confident because they don't know what to say.
Right.
That's where training can
Hmm.
come in. Like I use the NFL as a great example. You don't see anything for 6 days and 20 hours. You only see on the seventh day, 3 hours, the result of all the practice they do behind the scenes. So
Hmm.
when they see me prospecting and talking, and sharing with clients and asking questions, and I'm able to be pointed, that's all years of practice, writing out scripts for writing out the listing presentation, for 60 days. So when I walk into someone's home, immediately it's, hi, I just want to begin our time together today by saying thank you for providing me the opportunity to share some information with you and help you with the sale of your home. Sound good? Yeah. Always want to begin these conversations by asking a few quick questions to make sure that your goals are in alignment with what I can deliver. Sound good? Yeah. Great. The first question I have, I can do this all day. It's here. I want agents to be able to get to that place. So they're so confident, super confident when they walk into someone's home. The seller is confident with them. They can serve them. The agent can serve the seller by asking the right questions. Seller's confident with agent. Agent gets listing agreement signed. Seller sells home, moves on to the next destination. Done and done. That's what I want to have every agent that comes into my orbit to be able to do.
Let's talk about the reality. How many do make it? In your experience, a lot of people want it, right?
Sure.
A lot of people, who wants to make a lot of money in real estate? Everybody raises their hand, right? How much money do you want to make in real estate? $1 million. When do you want to make that by in the next 12 months? You know, are you coachable? Everybody says yes. Are you
Everybody
trainable?
says yes.
Everybody
Sure.
says yes. You know, do you want it really bad? Yeah, everybody says yes. But then when the rubber hits the road, right? Now the reality sets in, and now the mind takes over. You know, Don Shula, this is something I learned back in 2000. Don Shula had a quote that said, yes, mine too, my husband's. He said, you know, one of the best coaches, right? Don Shula, he said, you're going to play as well as you practice. How well have you practiced? And we handle people's probably most largest investment in their life, and yet we want to wing it because no one has held our feet to the fire. And let me ask you, how many make it? You want everyone that comes into your orbit to be, you know, a rock star, but how many really make it?
Yeah, well, it's a good question. I mean, I'd say the ones that can, again, and I'll speak mostly for, you know, me and I would imagine males might have this, when you can put your ego aside and just say that I don't know. So here's a quote that I hear a ton from my mentor, Aaron. And it's very true. It's super true. The most expensive thing you can own is a closed mind. And it is. If your mind is closed to opportunities, people sharing information with you, you're not going to progress. So you have to be able to just open yourself up to anything, literally anything. I walk around life a lot of times saying, I don't know. And it's amazing how God just brings to me certain things at certain times. You know, am I finding a bag with $500? No. But I'm saying the right thing at the right time usually is there, because I walk around with an attitude of, hey, I don't know everything. Maybe somebody can come into my world and share with me something that I don't know. So agents that have that mentality, and then that's where discipline and motivation come in. If you take a mentality of I'm open and want to learn, and you also have discipline and motivation. For me, it was getting off my parents' living, you know, being 35 years old and depressed and broke in your parents' basement. That's motivation for me. I've lived it. I've been broke. So I know agents that are struggling right now. I feel your pain. Yes. I've been there. I know what it feels like. And I can help you out of that just by sharing and I've been very open with it on my podcast. I share that all the time because there's nothing to be embarrassed about. I could care less if someone thinks less of me because of that. It makes no difference. Your opinion of me means it's none of my business.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'll put a bow on it by saying this. Look, guys, again, there are hundreds of thousands of real estate agents out there. The question would be is how bad do you really want it? Why are you doing what you're doing? You got into the real estate industry for a reason. Why is it? And now that you're here, it's your job. It's your craft. It's, again, imagine going to the doctor's office and you walk in there with issues and the doctor's like, Hey, let's just figure. I mean, hey, is it your shoulder? Like, let's figure it out. Maybe we can. Let's cut it open and see. Like, he's winging it. It's
Mm-hmm.
insulting to you to walk into a doctor's office. The doctor doesn't know what the hell he's doing. That's how I look at this job. You have to know what you're doing because it's an insult, and it's to walk into someone's home and expect to have to them give you a listing for that by winging it is just it's crazy to me. But there are agents that do it because they don't want to. They're not willing to do the skills and the time necessary to learn it. Take the time, get around people that are doing it in high volume.
Daniel, you have any plans to move to Florida? I need you here in Southwest Florida. I need a
It's
different
funny. I have a
Southwest Florida.
friend. I have a very good friend who lives in Miami, and I frequent there a bit because I do enjoy. I love Miami, and my Aaron knows I love Miami. I'm probably going to get some kind of a place there just to have as like a crash pad. I That's not out of the. That's definitely not a no. It is a that's down the line because I
That's
love Miami.
a someday. Well, I'm on the West Coast, and let me tell you, until yesterday, I used to say that our area was very laid back when it came to the real estate uh, business world, right?
Hmm.
Because most people in Florida in the past would come to retire. So then they would get
Hmm.
bored of being in the pool all day. So, what's the best thing to do? Get your real
Hmm.
estate license and sell real estate. But now you're selling real estate as a hobby every now and then,
Hmm.
part time. It's really not a career, really not a business. But then yesterday, I had some expert advisors come from Miami to my productivity boot camp. And they were like, Miami is flat. The agents are depressed. They're in chaos. They're confused. They have no synergy. We need to get a productivity boot camp to Miami. So whenever you decide to come to Miami, let me know so we can plan a productivity boot camp and
I,
have,
I Well, my organization does an event once a year down there. I was just there in February. It's
okay,
a gala for the elite builders, and we do it for about a week. So I'm down there for about a week in Fort Lauderdale. So I shot down to Miami, spent some time with my friend there, and then she came up too to Fort Lauderdale. So I'm sharing that to say I'll probably be back down there at some point this year. And what I
awesome.
would love to go over with your productivity camp is now that we know that transactions are down probably 40% from where they were 3 and 4 years ago, finding sellers that have what we call life events is paramount. What's
Mm,
a life event? Well, somebody who maybe is getting divorced and has to sell, maybe somebody who's passed away and they inherit the home and they want to sell it. Maybe somebody who they're living in a 1 bedroom and they're having children. They have to upgrade. That's a life event. Maybe all the kids are out of the house and they have a 5 bedroom home and they can't up they're retiring and they can't upkeep it. That's a life
mhm.
event. A job relocation. These are all life events that if you have the skill to ask these pointed questions to a seller to figure out if they're there, those are the leads and the sellers that I and my team want to work with. And I train them and help them on how to ask those questions. So when at the end of the conversation, this seller is they're bona fide and qualified. They want to get out. They have to get out. And that's then where that skill level comes into play. So it's tactical. It's just like
Yes.
tactical skills instead of what you hear a lot is like, oh, you have to have the right mindset and you have to have got to be motivated and you gotta be consistent, which you do. You have to have
Mhm.
discipline. All of that stuff doesn't matter if you don't have the tactical skill to ask these questions to sellers to figure out if they're motivated and need to sell or not, or if they're just testing the market because they have an investment property and let's see what we can get. I've
Right.
politely declined those listings. Last week I did on one. So just
So
again,
you're not
having
attached
that
to the
skill.
outcome. You're not attached to the outcome.
That's a great way to say it. You're detached from the outcome. And that's how you can serve sellers and the public in the absolute best way possible. When you are not attached to the outcome, that's where you can really just put yourself forward and be genuine, authentic. And again, within 5 seconds, the seller is going to know whether you're full of shit or you're someone that they can trust. They're going to know.
You're my kind of guy. So everybody that's watching, we're talking about the power of proximity. I'm here having a deep dive conversation with Daniel. It's crazy because, we're living in the best times in history for doing big business. I mean, you and I crossed paths in Dallas, Texas, because I decided to put myself in the room of mega high level players. You and your mentor were there. We crossed paths again at the coffee shop. We spoke. And then I said, you know what? I want to know more about Daniel. I want to know more about him. So I'm going to invite him to Agents in the Trenches, because it doesn't matter the level that we're at. We all started at ground zero. I mean, nobody was born knowing these scripts. Nobody was born with the skill sets and the mindset and the heart set and the tool set that it's take to really build a real estate empire. And why not build a real estate empire? So here we are. And I'm saying that so that everyone that watches us now, and even more so on replay, because we get, hundreds of thousands of people watching us on replay, you guys have to understand it's not a matter of, oh, I'm going to wait till I have it all together to start. Yeah. No, start and it'll come. You just said something very powerful, Danny. You said, God's going to take care of the stuff. I don't know how it's going to come together. And this is a perfect example. And I love being in proximity with you because I'm only 2.5 hours away from Fort Lauderdale, straight across the most relaxing road you'll ever travel, called Alligator Alley or I-75, right? Okay. North of Naples. So I would love to invite you to be at one of my productivity boot camps when you come, or I'll go to your event. Tell my audience and everyone watching, where can they follow you? Where can they see you in action? Where do you do these live role plays? Because people need to see this is not Lucy. Oh, that's Lucy telling me I have to do that. Oh, you know what? Sure. It's because Lucy's been doing this 25 years, but she doesn't understand. No, I do. I've been there. I've been broke, busted, and disgusted, and I refuse to stay there. So tell everybody where they can find you.
That's a great, you just said, so there's a quote I have. It's like, it's okay to be, it's okay. And I'm going to say this to everybody right now that is in a position in life where you might not be happy or thrilled. Okay. It's okay to be where you are. It's just not okay to stay there.
Come on now.
All right. So I've been there. I know it. Imagine being a male in your mid-30s, having to move back and put all your crap on an open bed trailer for your buddy to drive back to your parents' house because you're failing at life. I've been there. I get it, guys. I know what you're feeling. So
that's deep. I just got goosebumps.
Well, it's because it's true.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm a first-generation immigrant. I'm a Latina woman, Hispanic. I mean, I'm like a triple, I'm a triple M. I'm a triple minority. Moved to a city where I knew no one. And then I get into real estate. I'd never sold a thing in my life. I don't come from an entrepreneurial family. Like, all the odds were stacked against me, but I refused to stay there. And my mentor, I had an amazing mentor for 20 years and became my business partner. He said to me one day, Lucy, being broke is temporary. Being poor-minded is forever. Don't ever be poor-minded because it doesn't matter how much money you have. You can end up broke, but that's temporary. And here you are saying the same thing. Just don't stay there. Like, people arrive at a hard situation and they start unpacking the U-Haul like they're going to camp there. No, you got to get up and get going. So where can they follow you? Hello. This proximity is going to go somewhere, Daniel. I can feel
this will not be the last time we talk. I can guarantee you.
My people need some Daniel in their life.
Listen, I really appreciate that, to be those kind words. Look, and I mean this wholeheartedly. Like, I'm only where I'm at now by the grace of God. Like I say
Amen.
every day, I can't tell you how many times God is great. Just God is
Yes,
great
he is all the
because
time.
the thoughts that'll go through someone's mind when you feel like there is no end to where you're at, and it just keeps going month after month after month. Like if not for the grace of God, I wouldn't be sitting here. So I just want to preface that. Where they can find me. So for everybody that's watching, I prospect every morning live on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. I stream it on my channel, which is just the Daniel Mesrobian podcast, and then it streams out onto Instagram and Facebook. So I do that every morning for about 2.5, 3 hours. That start at about 8:15, 8:30. It depends if I'm in this studio or in another house that I'm at down in the Jersey Shore. As far as workshops and such, I do those at least once a month and sometimes twice. And it'll be on something that is going to arm you guys, agents, with the skills to go and talk to the public, talk to sellers, and be able to delineate they're motivated or they're not. And do they need my help or do they not? And I run those. I'm going to be doing one in about 2.5 weeks. Actually, we just set the date, and the date is the 28th. I think it's a Wednesday. The lender that I do the seminar at, she just agreed that it will be Wednesday the 28th. It'll probably be around 10 or 11 in the morning. I stream it live here on StreamYard, so it'll go to Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and it's going to be on the listing presentation. So if you're
I love,
agents out there and you're trying to figure out what do I say when I go sit in front of a seller, I want to learn what to say. I'm going to give you my presentation live.
I love
So
it.
I'm everywhere. So just use my name, Daniel Mesrobian, on Instagram, Daniel Mesrobian on Facebook, Daniel Mesrobian on TikTok, and then my podcast is the Daniel Mesrobian podcast.
I had Daniel Mesrobian,
Boom.
right? How do you say it?
It looks. That's it. You got it. It looks harder than
Daniel
it was.
Mesrobian.
Yeah.
Okay, Daniel Mesrobian
Mhm.
here live on Agents in the Trenches, unpacking the power of proximity, but really chopping down the
Mm.
fact that we have to practice, guys. We got to get on our game. We have to be A level players. We've got to become world class, like
Yes.
world class. You said something before we bring this to a close. You
Yeah.
said something like,
What's that?
I want to see anybody that doesn't practice, doesn't role play, doesn't know their scripts, come against me at a listing. Like I will basically, you said, chop you up. I love that energy because
I'll
that
walk out
you
of it. Yeah.
take,
I'll walk out of
tell
the
us.
listing, with the listing agreement is what it will be, because you're not going to have the ability to close. You're not going to have the ability to, again, ask pointed questions and assumptively close while you're talking to the seller. You're not going to have that ability. And the agents that practice all the time, every day, do. And guys, you do need discipline to be successful. I mean, I'm not telling you guys you have to get up as early as I do, but there should at least be a 5 in front of the number when you're getting up every morning. Because if you're an agent, you think you got into real estate because you're going to set your own schedule and I get to work when I want. You're going to be either on a team or out of the business altogether very shortly. I get up very early. I get to the gym very early. I get home and role play with the agents that I work with very early. Then I'm on I'm prospecting live at 8:00, 8:30
I
in the
love that.
morning. And then I do all, the day kind of goes as it goes, but it's regimented. It's
Yes,
not just I wing my day.
I love that. You just gave me an idea. I should
What's
start
that?
doing what I do behind the scenes because I'm also, I set a target of how many people I need to contact,
Mm-hmm.
and I run multiple companies and I'm very busy, so
Mm-hmm.
I cram it all into one day, and then the other days are just a bonus because obviously I have to get ready for the productivity boot camp, which we've been doing for
Yes.
16 weeks nonstop, and we're not going to stop. We're building an empire. That is my
Yes.
mindset. I'm waking up every morning with the mindset of it's hunting season. I need to go hunt. I'm waking up every morning with the mindset of, you know, it's farming season. I need to go plant those seeds of making those contacts, talking to the people, looking
Yes.
for the people, getting on my A game, becoming a world class leader,
Yes.
leading by example. So, yes, it's a mindset, but then I got to put action behind it.
Well, that's the key. Oh, that's the key.
So I love this connection. I love this power of proximity that everyone is witnessing right now. First time that you've ever really had a conversation with me,
Yeah.
not the last time. You're welcome
No.
to come to Southwest Florida, and I would love to come to your event
Well,
in Fort Lauderdale.
well, here's what we'll do. We'll connect outside of here. We'll exchange info, and then yeah, I don't have any problem. Like we can discuss if I'm to come down there, like what we'll do and those kinds of things, and we can discuss that. And then again, yeah, so like the elite builders where I'm at, we're doing a leadership retreat in Sedona in July. So we
Love
do
it.
these events twice a year. Florida, and then somewhere else. Like we did Punta Cana last year. So we do these events, and we just get the leaders of our org, the elite builders, together, and we discuss strategies, and it's just, and it's fun too. We get together, we go on
Yes,
excursions and things, so it's fun. But you're getting the leaders of the org together to kind of mastermind skills and tactics so that we can share out to everybody. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm just sharing with everybody what I do every day.
yes.
So,
The power of contribution, the power of contribution, the power
mhm.
of, we're not competing, we're completing each other. So I love that.
Yes,
Listen,
we're
I
not
could have you here.
competitors.
Yes,
We're not
no, we,
competitors, guys. We collaborate. We don't compete.
yes.
Look at it that way.
Elite builders, Daniel Mesrobian. How do you want to
Yes.
close this? This is so powerful. I could stay here. Like I've been having goosebumps after goosebumps just
Uh,
because I'm feeling the
thank you.
alignment, feeling the synergy. I
Mm,
know this is going to be resonating, with my agents and my
hmm.
agent partners and people that know me and people that have heard me for many years just say the same thing. But you know what? I just had a vision. I just had an image in my mind go,
Oh, cool.
when you
Tell me.
if I need to, when you were saying, just we're gonna talk, and if I need to go there, I go there. I just had a vision of like this huge lion walking into the productivity boot camp because yesterday I was telling everyone you need to go hunt like a lion, and here
Hmm.
you come, the papa lion that's ready to devour and
Thank you.
dominate the market. So that's gonna be
Thank you.
amazing. That's gonna be awesome.
I'll leave with this. I'll share this because again, I'm aware that there are a lot of agents out there right now that are struggling, and I can get emotional a little bit talking about it because there was a time when I was, and I want you to know that there is a way out. This is not permanent. It is temporary. There are people that are out there that will help you get out of where you are, that temporary situation, and move you upward, forward. But I'm going to say that it won't come externally. It's not going to come from external factors, guys. It's going to come from in here. You have to be whole here first. Everything starts from the inside and comes out. And it's a saying I've heard my mentor say a lot, and I say it a lot now. The well that you drink from is the well that you're going to leak from.
Hmm.
So there are people, you can get into proximity to people that will help you, that can help you. Seek them out. Find people, whether if it's me, fantastic, and I'm glad and grateful to help you. If it's somebody else that's that you're connecting with, great. It doesn't matter who it is, just that you get around people that can help you, because there is a way out. It'll take time, but just imagine the person that you are now. Give yourself 12 months to be the person that you may not be all the way there, but you're on the road to being the person that you can be. Just imagine that. And there are people out there to help you. Me being one of them, Lucy being one of them. They're out there. We're out there. Seek us out. We'll help you.
That is a mic drop moment. I thank you so much, Daniel, for saying yes to an invitation
You're
to, let's
welcome.
be real, someone you don't even know, but
It's okay.
God knew us. God knows us, right? And I've been saying this for the last week. I've been telling myself the whole last week, right? Just because I know where I'm going and I have to stay spiritually and mentally strong. I've been saying I don't know where the people that I need in my life are, but God knows where
Mhm.
they are. And the people that I'm looking for are looking for me. And that's my reality, period. And
Yes.
I don't want to hear anybody else's suggestions.
Yes.
And I'm so grateful you said yes, because even though you didn't know me, this
Mhm.
is the beginning of something that we could do very big to touch lives, change lives, and make a difference.
Yes.
And most of all, make an impact. So thank you
Yes.
so much, Daniel.
This was an honor and a privilege and a pleasure. There are never any coincidences, guys. There's a reason that Lucy and I connected. Like look, what's in here is probably very similar to what's inside Lucy, which is why we ended up connecting with each other. There's no coincidences. So who are you here is going to all that is a reflection of what you have on the outside. So thank you, Lucy. I appreciate you very much inviting me on here. It was an honor and a privilege, and I hope I provided value to you and your audience.
You were incredible. You have no idea. And I'm
Thank you.
also unstoppable. So let's go. Let's grow. Thank you,
Yes.
guys. See you on the
Boom.
next one.
Be
All
well.
righty.